Virginia. It's Between Two Twigs with your host, Susan Jennings Lance.
Hi there, this is Dr. Susan Jennings Lance, and we're back. And we are on our strange version of Between Two Ferns, but we're going to call it Between Two Twigs. Today we are very fortunate to have with us Professor Frank DeMarco, who is with the Department of Management here at West Virginia University, and he runs or works with our hospitality and tourism management program. So I'd like to welcome you.
Well, thank you.
Professor DeMarco. And could you tell us a little bit, first of all, let's start out, could you tell us a little bit about your personal history and how you ended up here sitting between two twigs with me?
Well, it all goes back to starting college here at West Virginia University in 1989. And
I started in 1987. We were contemporaries.
So it was, I always had a passion for the hospitality industry. And when I was a student here, I decided that, I think it was my sophomore year in college, that I wanted to work for Montanlair Catering Services. So,
which is our student union.
Which is our student union. And at that time there was a catering position open, and I applied and I was selected and worked with the catering services for almost 2.5 years through my college experience, and learned a lot. Was able to.
Did you know I worked there too?
Yeah.
I worked at the snack bar.
Yes.
I dipped ice cream and popcorn and soft drinks for a month and a half, and then I switched jobs.
I pretty much did most of my experience was with the catering, and I became a supervisor for catering events. So I actually, it's kind of neat because, later in life, one of my management colleagues was President Bucklew, and I used to be one of the supervisors and servers at his house when he was president of the university. And it was just kind of, different sitting at the same table discussing and collaborating with. I had that same kind of
deja vu experience when the president of the university was sitting at faculty meetings with me. Yeah.
So but it was a great learning experience. I was able to create a internship, which I helped design the Jack's convenience store. And
I remember that. I remember when we named it Just Another Convenience Store.
Yes. So
we're probably the only two people on this campus who know that that's why it's called Jack's.
Yeah. So it was.
Everybody else is dead.
Yep. Pretty much, or
retired.
Moved away. Yeah. But it's so then I ended up after college. I decided to stay because at that time we didn't have a hospitality and tourism program. So I basically, focused on management, and I went into restaurant management right out of school in Northern Virginia. Worked for a company, Gilbert Robinson. They had a great training program, so I learned a lot there. And then I moved on to contract food service, which, talking about the full circle. Eventually, the company that I worked with was bought out by Sodexo. And now Sodexo is coming in as our full, service, dining services for pretty much, most of the university now. And so I worked for Sodexo.
So if you were a student now, instead of working for Montanlair Catering, you would work for Sodexo.
I'd be back with them. But I was with Sodexo for 8 years, and I ended up at Davis and Elkins College, and in beautiful Elkins, West Virginia. And very lucky to get back into the state of West Virginia because I did, when my restaurant business, I lived in Northern Virginia, did some work in Ohio, and boy, I was just happy to get out of Ohio and back to West Virginia.
Although if you are in Ohio as one of our online students, Ohio is a lovely state and we support it. Frank is the one who had issues with Ohio. We do not have issues with Ohio.
No. Definitely love the area of West Virginia, so I ended up back here, and at Davis and Elkins I ran the Graceland Inn and Conference Center, and also all the catering services for the college, and then eventually became the assistant professor of hospitality and tourism for that establishment. So, and
you were hired. I mean, like we've interviewed other people
right.
for this class, and that they've said I wasn't necessarily an academic,
right.
and you're kind of from that. You
Yeah.
have more of a clinical background. I mean,
right.
you were actually in the thick of the.
I still,
thick of things, yeah.
I feel that that's really important in our area, and I think hospitality and tourism is great for business, and because you use all the disciplines that you learn with that business degree. You need to know the accounting, you need to know the economics, you need to know management information systems. So almost every single discipline you utilize on a daily basis in the hospitality industry, and that's why I felt when I was at Davis and Elkins College, one of the big things I did was to incorporate, with the help of Dr. Gloria Payne, we moved the hospitality and tourism program from a standalone program into the College of Business and Economics there at Davis and Elkins, and that started, if you go back into 2008, I decided to take a role at formerly the Waterfront Place Hotel, currently the Morgantown Marriott at the waterfront. And it was a great opportunity. It's a large property, one of the most profitable properties in the state of West Virginia, and I wanted to experience a larger business. And as I took that role, there was an opportunity to become an adjunct at the university, so I applied for that and was selected, and then we started talking about the importance of hospitality and tourism as an economic driver for the state of West Virginia, and we talked about moving into a major eventually, and so in 2011 I was hired as a full-time teaching assistant professor and coordinator of the hospitality and tourism program, and 3 years later in 2014 we started a major, and
our life has never been the same.
I mean, it's been a lot of fun.
DeMarco shows up. And, woohoo! Well, let me ask a question. So I want to go back to your time at the Marriott. Okay, so Marriott's huge. I mean, right. I've been to Christmas parties there, corporate Christmas parties that had like thousands and thousands of people. Like, how many people can they have in an event there?
Well, it all depends on the type of event, because we have the Morgantown event center that has 50,000 square meeting space between that.
That's the amount of meeting space, not the number of people.
Yeah, so that is square footage. We talk in that realms, but it can hold up to, for a stand-up, say you want to have a concert or any type of event like that, we can fit 2,500 people in the main conference
room. How many
room.
can you feed there? Like the Christmas party I go to.
So a sit-down dinner, comfortable sit-down dinner, we have the capability of doing 1,300 to about 1,350.
Okay.
They say 1,500, but 1,500 would be like you're sitting on top of each other.
Okay, but think about that.
Yeah.
Serving over 1,000 people, there's not a whole lot of room for error there, because if you go wrong, you go really wrong. And so, I always joke, because I see you at work, but that Christmas party that I go to every year that has over 1,000 people, I go through the line and they serve lobster, and I run into Frank and he's cracking lobsters on the line, and he can't hug me because he's got the gloves on, and so I mean, you're a big shot. Why are you on the line cracking lobsters?
Because that's the one thing that I've never lost from this business is that you got to lead by example, and I think it's very important to always show your associates in the business that you're willing to do what they do. Right. On a daily basis, and that's how you gain respect. And one thing. And
plus, you got to get it done.
Absolutely,
somebody's got to crack a lobster.
Absolutely. So, and that's what we call in the business is a all hands on deck type of event, and everyone takes a role. And I always had this passion. I'm not a very good culinarian, but I love being around food. I love working in the kitchen, because I think there's some great, interesting people that work behind the scenes, and I enjoy it. And so that's my time to kind of lay back.
Did you ever read Kitchen Confidential, the book that...
no, I have not.
Oh, what's his name? He just died. Anthony Bourdain read it.
Yeah?
Yeah, it's about the interesting characters in the kitchen. If anybody out there is working in the hospitality industry, it's a fun read.
Yeah, so that's one of the things that, and I'll also help out, with busy weekends if they need assistance in cleaning guest rooms. I'm always one to lead a team. It's just... I like all.
So if I go stay at the waterfront, I may look up and have you going, housekeeping.
You never
Frank
know.
DeMarco's outside my door. Okay, so all right, so that's what you do. That's your like extra job, and I'm just throwing that out there because I don't want people to think that we all sit in an ivory tower over here and teach. I mean, yeah, you're a professor. Yeah, you're running a program, but you're also in the thick of the industry. So could you tell me a little bit about the industry? I mean, hospitality and tourism, you just go wait tables. That's all you do, right?
Yeah, that's what a lot of people think, that, it's the industry is very service oriented, which it is. I think is a very big piece of it is the customer service piece. But the other side, and as I mentioned earlier, is that to be successful as any hospitality operation, you need to know how to run a business, and that comes in what I said, all the different disciplines that you learn in the College of Business and Economics, from your accounting classes, your econ classes, to your leadership, to human resources, which is a big piece. I could go on and tell a lot of HR stories from my years of working in the industry.
We'll save those for later.
Exactly.
We'll go out for coffee and talk about those stories.
But so you need to know all aspects of running a business. And that's why I love still staying involved in the industry, because it keeps me and it gives me great teaching material, and it helps me, educate students for this industry. And the hospitality and tourism industry is so broad. I mean, when you go over the past 20, 30 years, there's so many different positions that have been created. The traditional of hotel managers and restaurant managers, now we're going into more quantitative. We're looking for revenue management. We're looking for customer relation management specialists, so that have the ability to understand and analyze data and social media. We also have the event planning area has grown tremendously. That's one of the strongest areas of growth. Casinos is another area that has done real well. So there's just a lot of different opportunities.
How much could you make working gaming, which is what we call casinos?
Casino management.
When you first told me that, I thought gaming was like video games or Dungeons and Dragons or something. But it turns out he's talking about casinos.
Yeah, casino management. You're looking at, depending on the geographic location, a starting manager is going to start off probably in early low 40s and has potential of making well into six figures. And because again, it's a big business. It's a lot to manage. You have a lot of people underneath you. You have to understand all aspects of the business.
Yeah.
And it's a lot of fun. I think there's a lot of people that enjoy that route. Event planning is another area that's growing. Again, the salaries are still there, especially if you decide to go into the sales end of event planning. You can make a very good salary in six figures. So I think you have to remember, in almost any type of with any type of business degree, you're going to start entry level. The great thing about the hospitality and tourism industry is that it continues to grow, and there's a lot of opportunity for advancement other than some of the other majors where you're more specialized and you kind of get in with a strong salary, and then it's just incremental increases throughout your career, where with hospitality being so broad, there's so many different opportunities that you can end up in within 5 years almost doubling your salary. One of our students that one of our first graduates just doubled his salary, and he graduated in August of 2014, starting off at close to about the mid-30s, a little bit over doubling, because he's now making $85,000 as a director of operations for a resort out in Oregon. So there's a lot of opportunities, and we try to give our students, being part of the management department in the College of Business and Economics, we try to get them a well-rounded business education to succeed in the industry.
Okay. All right. So let me ask you a question. If you're taking B Corps 199 online, that means that you might be in Utah, or you might be in California, or you might be in Amsterdam, or you might be in McDowell County, West Virginia, who knows?
All those places are destination attractions, because there's destinations almost anywhere in the world.
Okay. So you can make that work. How can you learn, like if you're in this online program, you're majoring in business, how can you learn more about this stuff? Do we have online courses?
Yeah, and that's great.
Funny,
that you
I should ask that question.
I
Yes.
love it. I love it. So,
it's almost as if I know the answer to it ahead of time, huh?
As we are, developing this great online general business degree, we have 3 courses that fit great with several different tracks of business, but we offer a intro to hospitality and tourism, which will go in depth and talk about the different career opportunities, the different segments of the hospitality and tourism industry. We also have a customer relationship management course that my colleague, Dr. A.J. Alori, teaches, and he goes in and has some really neat projects.
Dr. Alori is like us. He's really animated.
Yes, he is.
And when the two of them come to my in face-to-face course, and one time I was late. Okay, so I come in late. I just came when class started. And the two of them had been in there and already had the students doing stuff, and it was almost like they were getting ready to serve drinks in the back of the room. They're a lot of fun. Yeah.
Dr. Laurie, too, he teaches that customer relationship management, and he has a great social media project that's part of that course. And then to round off...
Maybe I'll take the course.
Yeah, and then our capstone, so our third class that fits in nicely is an event planning course. And again, it's a practicum, and we have some great projects that we line up for our students and let them learn about the event planning world, which is, like I mentioned earlier, a growing field.
So if you're somebody who thinks, I'm really interested in this stuff, I'd really like to go into hospitality and tourism management with my bachelor's degree in business administration that I've been taking online.
Right.
What would you recommend that they do? Like if you're somewhere else, would you recommend internships? Would you recommend, what, if somebody's hearing this and starting to take the classes and thinking, this might be for me, what is your advice?
I think that the best way to learn about the industry and to have a competitive advantage is to gain experience in the industry, either through a part-time job or an internship, but experience will help you. The practical experience coupled with the degree is going to make you go a lot further. As I mentioned before, it gives you that opportunity if you really want to grow at a fast, rapid pace in an industry. The hospitality industry is for you then, because there's a lot of opportunity.
So get a job waiting tables, get a job at the local hotel, get a job where?
I would say whatever interests you. Like if you like the segment of event planning, try to get on with an event planning company or a catering company. If you like the food and beverage industry, I would start, if you want to be more back in the house and you want to go the culinary route, then maybe learn how to cook. But if you want to be,
or get
in the front of the house,
or get a job cooking.
Right.
You don't have to go to culinary school to do that.
No, you don't have to go to culinary school.
You can be somebody who works in the kitchen.
And I think it's good to learn both aspects of a food and beverage operation or a restaurant would be the back of the house and the front of the house. And so There's opportunities. Any type of part-time job, though, I think you want to make it clear that you're interested in a leadership role, and there's opportunities where you can maybe become a lead server, where you start training other employees, or you become, in the hotel operation, you become like an assistant front office manager or night audit when you're learning how to analyze reports. So the more you can get exposed to different management functions, what I tell our students that do go on formalized interviews or internships for our degree program is that you have to, and you'll learn this and you'll be hearing this and probably in 10 of your classes throughout your experience at B&E, is what are the 4 functions of management, and you need to be able to apply them. And you start off with planning, organizing, leadership, and controlling. Those are the 4 major functions.
Planning, organizing, leadership, controlling. Remember that.
So those, and be able to apply those in your area of operation. So.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Well, as always, it's fun to chat with you. I want to hear more stories later, but we're not going to invite everybody for those. That's for the 2 of us to talk about. Anyway, thank you very much.
Thank you.
And we'll put a link to your programs on the site. And I'm so glad you came and joined us.
Well, thank you. This was wonderful.